Good. How you doing? All right, we've been joined by Derek Walton Jr., DJ Wilson, Zach Irvin, and if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you right over here.
Fred Galgill with a CBS affiliate in Louisville. Just some general thoughts when you first think of Louisville or see them play. What comes to mind? What makes them unique in your mind's eye for all three players, please?
Derek, we'll start with you.
Well, they're a really good coach team. They're really athletic, really long. They attack the glass on the defensive and the offensive side. And, they pose a different threat just with their length and their athleticism. So, we're doing some things to make sure we keep those guys off the glass.
DJ?
They have nice guards. Their starting guards can shoot the ball well. That's nothing different than we're used to in the Big Ten, but I think the biggest difference is how hard they just attack the offensive glass. They have a lot of athletic 4s and 5s that get after it.
Zach?
Yeah, just touching on what Derek said, they're just very long and athletic, and also, too, they just try to disrupt our offense with pressing and trying to take things away from us.
Right here in the back.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. For Zach and Derek, obviously it's a Louisville team with a lot of length. How important is DJ, and what kind of impact can he make in this game?
Zach, we'll start with you.
I think he's very important for us. He's able to change the game in various amount of ways because of his versatility, be able to play multiple positions, but also he's long and athletic just like they are. So he'll be a key part in the game for us tomorrow.
Yeah, just like Zach said, he just can guard and defend multiple positions. He's agile. We got a lot of confidence in him being able to match up with those guys. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does against those guys.
Right up here.
Tim Sullivan, Louisville Courier-Journal. Derek, yesterday, Rick Pitino, who's been known to exaggerate, compared you guys to the Golden State Warriors. Wondered how you reacted to that, and which one of you is Steph Curry?
To answer the question, I was actually going to ask who is who at this point, and I don't really take it any type of way. I just think and if it is sarcasm, I think he's still, saying that we're a good team. That's all I think with us.
Questions? Right here.
In terms of, you guys are obviously really good at shooting the three-pointer. Louisville is one of the best in the country at defending the three-pointer. What are some of the keys to success when you face a good three-point defense in terms of getting shots off or making shots?
Zach, we'll start with you.
I just think we can get disrupted with our offense, getting the flow early. I think it took us a little while yesterday to get settled down into our offense. So I think that'll be key for us. And how well Derek's been playing right now, he's getting everyone into their spots, and I think that'll be key for us tomorrow.
DJ?
I think the first few minutes when we see the game plan, the defensive game plan and what they try to take away, we'll get adjusted to it well after like a media timeout or whatever once we see what they're trying to do and how they're trying to guard us.
Derek?
Yeah, just like DJ said, we just adapt to what the game give us, and it's pretty much just go from there, just take what the game give us.
Right here.
Yeah, Bob Wanowski from the Detroit News. For all three of you, does Louisville look like anybody you guys have faced this year? Have you seen anything similar to what they present?
Derek, we'll start with you.
I think you could think of SMU as far as how they attack the glass. Having good length. That's my best comparison.
DJ?
Same. SMU comes to mind just because how athletic they are and how they attack the offensive glass. So.
Zach?
No, I'd agree with those two. SMU, they crashed the glass pretty hard. I think Oklahoma State yesterday, too, they crashed the glass hard. That'll be a key. We got to be able to get them off and get out in transition.
Over here.
You guys started the season with a 19-11 record, then won your last 6 straight. Some of the elements of the keys to success of why you think that's happened, and how much of an influence was what happened at the airport that day, and how has that changed you guys?
DJ, we'll start with you on this one.
What happened at the airport, I don't really think that it has a lot to do with how we're performing out there on the court. I think we're just clicking at the right time. Our defense is starting to click. We're starting to get a lot more stops. So once you combine the defense that we've been playing over the course of the second half of the year with our offense, then we're dangerous.
Zach?
Yeah, just touching on what DJ said, I think our offense has been there throughout the whole year. It was just our defense that was lacking, and we made those adjustments, and we just want to be playing our best basketball in March and hopefully continue into April, and we're doing that right now.
Derek?
I think, to say the least, as a team, you want to get better as the year progresses, and that's pretty much is what we do here. We just get better each and every game and throughout the season, and just pay dividends. We've been able to run up some wins.
Right here in the middle. Over here.
Jerry Tipton, Lexington Herald Leader. You guys have talked about everything starting to click. What do you see out there that tells you, it's falling into place, it's clicking?
Derek?
Just our communication with one another. Not really being too coach reliant and just making plays is the biggest difference at this point. Is having complete control over what we doing out there, pretty much.
Go ahead, DJ.
I think it's on the other end, just defense, starting to click on that. And like I said, the offense has always been there throughout the course of the year. It was just whether or not we're going to play defense. And we have so far the second half of the year, and then hopefully we can just carry that momentum on the defensive side into tomorrow.
Zach?
Yeah, at this point, player-driven teams beat coaching-driven teams, and we've done that these past 2 months, I'd say. And like DJ said, with our defense, intensity has ramped up. It's been a game changer for us.
Back here.
Paul Rogers from Louisville Radio. I'm just curious, not that it's really relevant to tomorrow, but curious if any of you guys have any particular memories of the Louisville-Michigan National Championship game a few years ago.
Zach, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it was the year before Derek and I got here. I just remember watching the game, how well Spike played. A lot of people didn't see Spike before that point. 17 points in the first half was incredible. And then just the controversial call with Trey, and I think it was Siva with the block call.
DJ?
Those two come to mind automatically, Spike and the call, the foul, and then also the Tim Hardaway when he had that dunk in the fast break. So,
Derek?
Yeah, pretty much the same. And just wanted to help, just wanted to see our team succeed, even though we weren't here. I just wanted to see them succeed so bad, and that's pretty much it.
Right here.
It's often been said that it's difficult to face a Pitino coach team on very short notice because his defense is just so complex. What are some of the challenges for you guys on short notice in wheeling back around and facing a new team? Is it adjusting on the fly? What are some of the challenges?
Derek, we'll start with you.
I think we did a great job. Last week we had to play 4 games in 4 days, so adjusting will be, it's pretty much what we do at this point. So, adapting is another part of our identity. We just, adapt to what the game gives us and, go from there.
DJ?
like Derek said, playing 4 games in 4 days, that's something that you have to kind of just adapt to as far as learning their offenses and whatnot. But at the same time, I also think that we're hard to scout for with just a day between the games, just because we're so complex on the offensive end and we have so many weapons. So, yeah.
Zach?
Yeah, just really what they touched on. It's not going to be easy by any means, but I think we'll be ready for it. I mean, everyone knows Coach B. He has us prepared for several things that will be coming at us. I just think once the game gets going, we'll be fine.
Questions, please. Right here.
Neil Best from Newsday for Derek. What is the key to you guys having such a low turnover rate all year? What makes that happen?
Derek?
Well, first and foremost, if we turn the ball over in practice, it's a consequence. So our coach, really values not turning the ball over and making sure we get the best possible shot each and every possession. And I think, as a team and our identity, that's something, we've came to means with and want to make a staple, just making sure we get a shot every time down the floor and make sure we pass the ball to the guys on our team.
Right here.
As a follow-up, what is the consequence if you turn the ball over in practice?
Derek?
It varies. From running to the top of our gym or just, being taken out of the drill. It just is one of the things that we, stand on. We don't want to turn the ball over.
Questions, please. Yeah, Andy?
Excuse me, I guess for Derek. I don't know if you've seen UCLA play, but if someone hadn't been watching college basketball this season and said, who's the best offensive team in the country, what would be your answer?
Well, we played Oklahoma State yesterday, and we play UCLA, so they'll be one of my top two. But I wouldn't shortchange us either. So I think we got 5 or 6 guys on our team that's already reached the 20-point plateau. So I think you can make an argument for Michigan being one of the best offensive teams.
Right here.
Yesterday, you guys set a school record in the tournament for 3 points made in a tournament game. What was the key to your success, especially in the second half with the 3-point shot?
Zach?
I just think one of the things for our team is just we're so unselfish, especially how well Derek is leading our team right now on the offensive end is something special. And when one of us gets it going like Derek did in the second half, it's contagious for all of us, and we're able to score in various ways.
DJ?
I just think everybody out there on the court just has the utmost confidence in themselves and in each other. When we get the ball and we shoot it, we plan for it to go in. We don't second guess ourselves. And at the same time, I think that we're just taking what the defense was giving us. With our offense, you kind of just have to pick your poison. So they're leaving us open for 3, and we were making them pay.
Right here in the middle.
Zach, at this stage of the tournament, how important is executing whatever the plan is? Or can teams get away with just sort of freelancing or just relying on talent?
Zach?
At this point in the season, I think execution is key. And I think we showed that yesterday against Oklahoma State, especially those last 5 minutes. The game kept going back and forth. But for us to be able to get stops, especially on the defensive end, was huge. And we had big-time players make big-time plays.
Right over here, Andy.
Zach, a few years ago, there was a lot of criticism of the college game, especially shooting. Obviously, you guys are a great example of how far it's come. In your career at Michigan and watching college basketball, what do you think has changed to where there's been a better value on shooting the basketball?
Question for Zach.
Like you said, I think there has been a change in shooting. I think also, too, you just got to give credit to teams that have started playing smaller basketball. And with forwards, especially like DJ, how he's able to change the style of the game for us. And even Mo, for example, as a 5-man, be able to shoot the ball the way he does. We work on it in practice all the time. Coach B does a great job with working on people's shooting forms. And I think that's been one of the reasons why we're so successful.
Questions for the right here?
Speaking of the threes, how much are you guys instructed in practice and in games to just get behind that line? Like you talked about penalties for turnovers in practice. Is there a penalty for like taking a 15-footer? Are you guys told to specifically avoid that?
Derek?
No, I think the main thing Coach B really preaches is that take the shot when you're open. That's all we do here is we take what the defense gives us, and it's no penalty for shooting 15-footers. There's no penalty for that.
Questions, please, right here. Mm-hmm.
I'll stay on the topic about shooting. The Pitino comment, Golden State Warriors. How much are guys like you influenced by what happens at the next level? Because it seems like there's a trickle-down effect with the small ball.
DJ?
I'm not too sure how much it influences us. I just think we just have a lot of pieces, and Coach B does his best as he can to kind of just, control us in a way to let us have freedom while at the same time just letting us play our game. So I don't know if it really has much of an influence of how we play. We're just utilizing all the tools that we have. So,
Zach?
Yeah, Coach B does a great job with the X and O's, but he says from time to time, it's the players, not the plays. And like I said, just to harp on with Derek, Derek's just doing a great job with that, and for us to be able to score the ball in various ways.
Any more questions for the guys? All right, thank you. Michigan locker room will remain open. Is Coach here? Yeah. We'll go ahead and proceed with Coach Beilein. All right. questions for John? Right here.
Hey, John. Coach Pitino called you the Golden State Warriors, called your team the Golden State Warriors. And I'm just curious, what influence do you think teams like the Golden State Warriors and other teams at the next level have had on the college game in recent years?
Well, first of all, it's a huge exaggeration, I would say. I would not put us in that ballpark or in any way, but the style sometimes would resemble each other. No, I think the game, here's what I love about this, is that there's not too many people that are coaching as head coaches right now that were head coaches before the shot clock, before the three-point line. I'm one of those guys. And as you watch the evolution of the game, you just embrace it. It's incredible how the game keeps changing. Those that have made the rules 99% of the time, they've made great adjustments, and everybody keeps adjusting to it. And then we copy the heck out of each other. So I think that if you watch the Big Ten, we're going to have a similar style, because I don't sit at home and say, hey, Louisville is playing tomorrow, let's watch the Syracuse game. I don't have time. We don't have time to leisurely watch games that you aren't bearing on your life. So I think that obviously the computers and the synergy and all these things have had a huge influence on people finding new ways to win, besides the 3-out, 2-in game that we saw in the 70s. It's probably more like the games in the 60s right now with Rudy T and Calvin Murphy and Bob Lanier and Pete Maravich than it is to what we saw with some periods of the 44 to 42 game earlier on.
Pat, right here.
Pat Forty from Yahoo Sports. John, you had a couple of very memorable tournament games against Rick Pitino, 2005 and 13. What are the specific challenges of facing teams he coaches, and do you see the same things in this team that you saw in those?
Yeah, where they have been able to really expose a weakness of ours is just getting baskets over the top or getting offensive rebounds. And because they usually have very talented guards, they're able to get downhill a little bit through a lot of great action, college action, pro action. He's got a great mind for the game. And then while you're either giving help or give one step to get help, if they miss, they got some long-arm dude all over the top of the rim. And that's been a big common denominator in all those games.
Over
here. John, Rick said yesterday you were the hardest coach to ever prepare for. Why do you think he said that?
Rich was exaggerating a lot yesterday.
I know. We all know that.
This is the part, before they kick your butt, they try to butter you up a little bit.
We know that.
Yeah.
So let's check that.
Yeah.
But why do you think he thinks that about you?
Well, we've played against each other in the Big East and in the tournament a few times. If there is any thought, because they're really hard for us, and he's the hardest coach that I've ever had to prepare for. How about that for a touche? Because it's usually in one-day prep, right? I think in the Big East, one time we played them where we had a 2 or 3 day prep, and it was at West Virginia. Usually it's a 1 or 2 day prep, and it's really hard. And so styles may be different, and just getting your kids to understand certain concepts. So, but he's done pretty well prepping for us. He's got a pretty good record in these preps.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, John. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, talk about where he's come for you from the day he walked in the door to where he is now.
What I like the best is when he first came to us, he was all into working hard, but he did not probably know that that he's so talented that he had another level he could develop to. And he was one of my original tuxedo guys that played the game in a tuxedo. And, he was fast, he was quick, but he wasn't going to dive on the floor, he wasn't going to take a charge. He was one of those guys that just had to continue to learn about, he had another level of play in him. And he'll still drift to that at times. So that's like the biggest improvement. His passing his first year had 26 assists or something. His whole first year, and he played a lot. Right now he's got 65 or 70. He was a 30% shooter. Now he's a 40% shooter. I'm really looking forward to what he's still going to be able to do in this tournament. And also looking forward to him as he goes into his senior year. He reminds me, and here's a name for a lot of the young people that want, is of Randy Smith of the Buffalo State and the Buffalo Braves, that He's this elite athlete that if his full focus is on, I'm going to utilize all these God's given talent, he's got even another level for himself.
Right.
Derek said that one of your sayings is, it's the players, not the plays. And I'm wondering, at this stage, how much is this about execution? How much is it about players making plays?
Well, the Louisville scheming against some things that we do. So you just can't say, okay, let's go hoop, right? You're going to, because they'll be sitting on things that we do. So now you have to change some angles and things like that. But with the 30-second shot clock, as we continue to evolve as a program, that's a big focus on me right now to make sure that we both recruit and teach guys to be players more than run plays. Remember, no shot clock for Coach B when he first started, then 45 seconds, then 35 seconds, then 30 seconds. You keep evolving, and the more it evolves into the NBA type of game, the more that there's 5 seconds to go, 7 seconds, what are you going to do? You ain't running another play. You got to be able to have a player make a play. So that's where we've evolved more and more. I saw a young man a while ago that played for Pete Carril back before the shot clock, and I said, how you could control the ball for 3 or 4 minutes until you got your shot. It's so far from there right now. We've evolved, and we got to evolve more.
Right.
Coach, is it silly to suggest what you guys went through on the plane has helped you play better basketball? Is it coincidence, galvanizing force?
I think there's different defining moments in your season, always, and you really don't know them until the end, so I hope this isn't the end. But that was one of those significant moments in the season that got us to go to another level, maybe of appreciation and a sense of urgency of how your life can change quickly. And we've had some bad losses. They're all close ones. I think the only team that South Carolina is the only team that really took it to us. Illinois a little bit on the road, but we look back at a play here and there, and there's the games we lost that might have been defining moments for us. Our Ohio State game at home, and they had a good team. Don't make any mistake about that. And our Virginia Tech loss at home, I thought that would cost us the tournament. 2 home losses to 2 good teams, but we didn't have the grit we needed at the end of that game, those games to win. And I hadn't coached that grit well enough. And I think that we showed that. So that was. But if you want to talk about maybe that one little extra step we needed, that I know it was for me.
Paul Rogers from Louisville Radio. John, going back to what you first touched on about shooting and scoring and the way the game is now, how has that changed what you have to do or try to do defensively, how difficult it is to defend people?
Every day is it's geometry. It's not calculus, but it's geometry. Because every way, what Rick's running right now and I hadn't watched one bit. You know, I'm one game at a time in a tournament. Sadi Washington been watching it all week, and while we had a guy watching Jacksonville State as well, that they're doing something we haven't seen all year, and we've seen parts of it we haven't seen all year, and these angles and the way people keep evolving with like I said, with the advent of the old watching teams on film, it's becoming more like football every day with the way people can move people around and give different looks and do the same thing. And your kids have to recognize it without huddling up every 30 seconds. So it's opened up this game, and all of a sudden it is and the new officiating rules where you're not plugging guys and things like that has made the game a much higher scoring game. Oh, yeah, I like it. I think it'd be very hard to play if you didn't have shooters, though, right? It'd be because everybody would plug right in there and you wouldn't have anybody open. So we always try to recruit guys that can shoot, or we think they're not far away. They just need to work a little bit more on it.
Right.
Tim Sullivan, Louisville Courier-Journal. Coach, you were talking about the evolution of the game and how it's more of a player's game now. Do you think that may contribute to the separation of the elite Power 5 schools from the mid-majors, and maybe the reason there are fewer upsets in the tournament?
I think this year, if that, I guess that wave of upsets is probably over right now, or it still could happen, I guess. But no, I think it's more of an aberration than anything. That every year that's going to happen, you're going to have some, you're not going to have some. No, I think if anything, it'll go the other way because of the attrition to the pros, because of transfers. you take a whole bunch of juniors and seniors who are mid-major players and play a bunch of freshmen who have people calling them about the NBA the next day, and they're in the NCAA tournament. That's really hard. And so there's going to be, you just stay tuned. There'll be, this March Madness will always be March Madness. Some years it just be madder than others.
Right here. We got.
I want to follow up on the players making plays rather than running plays.
Mm-hmm.
What about time and score considerations? How does that factor in on when to do something, when not to do something?
Well, that's because of the shorter shot clock right now, that's been a thing. We've had a couple of times where we really played out of our minds and had these 20-point leads against really good teams with 10 minutes to go. You think that's a coach feels good? That's the worst time for a coach, because you're knowing you don't want to keep just running and gunning because maybe you're going to 2 threes, 3 threes, and it's a 12-point game with 9 to go. And it can happen in a blink of an eye. So that's that sweet spot there. What am I going to do? It's just like football again. We just don't have as much time to think about it, right? Am I going to? It's third. There's 3rd and 3. Am I going to pass this one and maybe get incomplete, or am I going to take more time off the clock? And that's the tough thing for us because you don't see as much pressing right now because you're relying on that clock. But getting those shots, when do you stop sending guys the offensive boards and just send them back to protect? And you usually can hang on to the lead, but we had a game with Purdue this year. I mean, they scored 2 old-fashioned. We were up 18. They scored 2 old-fashioned threes and 2 3-point plays in like a minute. It was 6, just like that. And we had some pretty good shots, but we didn't go in. Yeah, I think you got to be very careful about when you pull the plug, but people can come back so quickly.
All right.
Paul Schwartz with the New York Post. John, in your experience, when one of your teams comes off such a good shooting display, 16 three-pointers,
Yeah.
do you figure, all right, they're going to be confident and do it again, or do you worry it's not going to be there, the other team's clued in on it? Do you worry it's kind of like fool's gold?
I worry about everything in life, okay? So that's a bad question for me. But 16, I'm not saying, hey, we're going to go make 16 again. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking if we get good shots, let's go. And if we can shoot 35 to 45% from 3, we're going to be in a lot of games, right? But we got to get those shots too. People take away your threes, like that is another issue. So you got to drive the ball, and you got to say we're not doing it. We got to drive it. They're out, they're extending. Now we got to drive by people, right? Or run different action to get things going to the rim or passing action to the rim. So I think. Even though people will think we're this three-point shooting machine, I think we're really flexible at doing what we need to do to be able to be in position to win a game.
Right, back here.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. John, how far do you think we are from the college rules embracing all of the NBA rules, the three-point line, the shot clock? At what point do you think that will happen?
Yeah, we're certainly trending that way, Myron, but I hope we don't go to the 24. I just think there's a certain element there that it's these kids, right? That the action is going to be more up and down, right? The NBA guys aren't going to classes all day long, right? And they're not getting back at 2 in the morning and have an 8 o'clock calculus class or a chemistry class or sociology class. I just hope we got to keep the beauty of this thing that it's probably in a good spot right now where it is, and because of our new strengths in basketball are technology. Because of those strengths, these kids, their time demands are even more in flux. So I think when we go to that, right, I think that now it's more times up and down the court, more times in practice up and down the court. I think it's dangerous to go too much in that level. But I think we got to still put our kids in position so they're ready for the NBA. That's a key thing, right? But I think we can do that in a gradual thing, just like the minor leagues in baseball. They're not ready in the minor leagues, but it won't be long before they're ready. Put them in position to be in that position.
Right here.
John, I think you've faced a Pitino coach team 4 times in your career. I wonder what you find is the unique challenge to prepare for his team, and are they much different than they were in the 13 title game?
I think they've been very similar in all the times. I even faced him when I was a Canisius coach when he was at Kentucky. You're always prepared for multiple defenses, because they're gonna come out. They're gonna play full court pressure. Sometimes they're gonna trap. Sometimes they're gonna run and jump. They're going to play hard pressure. Sometimes soft pressure. You're gonna see some type of full court, just soft stuff. So we're always, and you're gonna see a matchup zone, regular zone. You're gonna see regular man-to-man, switching man-to-man. I mean, we've seen all those things. In a one-day prep, it's hard, but it's hard for both teams. So, but that's been pretty consistent with Rick. And I think that, he's about the same age as I am, and we sort of got into the game differently, but to where we are, just by coaching nomads a little bit. The Dean Smiths that we go at the clinics, the John Woodens that they played multiple defenses. So John Wooden used to press. Dean Smith was always, had a multiple defense. Those were the clinics that he went to, that I went to, and it just helps you evolve as a young coach. And so he's kept some of that. We used to be 1-3-1 zone and back to a man. We used to change more than we do now, but I liked winning more, so we stopped playing so much 1-3-1. Everybody got used to the 1-3-1 because it used to be big, and then people got used to it.
Right.
Jeff Greer from the Louisville Courier-Journal. You've only had a day to look at film for Louisville, but what are your thoughts on number 22, Deng Adel, the small forward?
Yeah, I like what I see from him because his length is incredible. He can shoot it just enough where you have to guard him. He's a perfect complement to the two guards, but his length is really, really good. And I think that they've played him on guards before as well. So very versatile player.
Right here.
Coach, Michigan Insider Mark Dodson, how are you?
Good, Mark.
Derek Walton now is a household name in a lot of college basketball fans' households. I'm curious as to, especially over the last month or so, he's been picked up. So has it been a situation where Derek has just been exposed and now people are becoming familiar with him, or has he always been this good? And if he's been this good, what do you attribute his play recently to?
No, I think that his evolvement as a player, his evolution as a player, is really spiked this year, where you've seen the biggest spike, in that he wanted to win so badly. And he's had a lot of help with that, where he's got a great staff. I think that Billy Donovan's had a great influence on him. Greg Harden, the famous Greg Harden, who has counseled the Tom Brady's and the Desmond Howards of the world, has spoken with a lot with him about him getting everything that he can out of the blessings he's had. Actually, I think people starting to switch man to man and say my 7-footer or my 6'8" guy can guard their point guard. I think he took it personally and said, wait a minute, I got a lot more to my game. Because that's really, that was part of where this whole thing started, is where people thought they could just guard him with a big man in a pick and roll situation. And he said, all right, now coach just wants me to shoot it or drive it. And that's really been helpful. But the young man's worked hard. We wear these catapult system on our back that measures how hard you work that day in practice. And his was leading every practice, every day the first month of the season. It was like at 1,100. We try to not let him get over 500 right now, or 400. And it's halfway through practice, and I see he's at 600, or he's at 500, and we got to shut him down. He's just a worker, and that's been the other component of his growth.
Got time for a couple more. Right here.
John, Zach, DJ, and Derek, we're talking about how importantly you treat turnovers in practice.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about Louisville's pressure defense and how turnovers may play into the key of the game tomorrow?
Yeah, this is a part that we have to take care of it. It's a game of possessions, and where we because we have a lot of skilled players, we can accept some of the fact that we might get out rebounded. But if you out rebound us by 6 or 7, and we have 7 less turnovers, we all had the same possessions. So that's very, very important. If you're out rebounding us and we're giving it back to you, we're in trouble. So we got to make sure that we really take care of the ball, because if you're going to trap us, if you're going to try and turn us over, we're one pass away from a basket, right? If we can just make that one pass. So I think we probably work at pivoting and passing as much as anybody in the country. And the kids are coming in, and because it's just old school camp stuff. I mean, that you do it if you had a 4th grade team. You teach them how to pivot, which it seems like we get a lot of players that don't know how to pivot. Now they can pivot out of that pressure, and now their defense can create our offense. Louisville's thing will be their defense going to create their offense. We can't let that happen tomorrow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Louisville players will be in about 10 minutes at 2:20.